Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of Experience Insiders, a series from Retail Touchpoints where we dig into the latest campaigns and experiences across all channels. You may know me by now, I'm Alicia Esposito, VP of Content for Retail Touchpoints, and I am thrilled to have on the line with me Gabrielle Richards, Senior Brand Manager for Shapermint and Body Positivity Expert. Gabrielle, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Likewise, I'm so excited to be here with you today.
And I'm excited to have you. To start, why don't you share a little bit about Shapermint and the essence of what the brand is all about? Because we've covered the brand before. I love it, but want to make sure our audience has the full context.
Sure. So Shapermint is a size-inclusive community where we empower and encourage our community to celebrate their shape and wear confidence comfortably through our supportive wear everyday essentials.
And like I said in your introduction, you are not just senior brand manager for Shapermint, but you're also a body positivity expert and a coach. And it seems like there's a nice little mingling of the two worlds, between your day-to-day job, but also your passion and your work outside of the office, so to speak. So tell us a little bit about how these worlds intertwine in your day-to-day and also how you can kind of use your experiences in these two worlds to make a better brand experience.
Absolutely. So if someone had to say, what is your dream job? I'm actually living it every day when I get to work with such a passionate team to help women in all shapes and sizes really feel empowered and confident through our product offering. It's just so fulfilling. Prior to joining Shapermint, I was a body positive advocate. So I was already immersing myself within the conversations and the communities that were out there. And then when I started working for the brand, I decided to receive a certification within body positivity so I could really become an expert and a thought leader within this. And it's helped us so much to really understand, the reason behind body positivity, the body acceptance movement, and also through our visuals and our communication with our customers, we're really able to be authentic in the ways we communicate with them. And then also, too, as we're ideating new campaign concepts, making sure that, we're staying real and true to the community that we're serving.
I love that. I love that you are not just talking the talk, you are walking the walk. And it's clear in all of the work that Shapermint does. And I guess that leads me to a follow-up question, because obviously we've been seeing so much around the body love movement, a lot of brands embracing it, applying it in their marketing, their product development, even their in-store experiences, right? With their expansion of, models and mannequins, which is all fantastic. But with that, obviously Shapermint has a strong foundation in self-love and this movement. You've done training and work in it to add that level of expertise, right? Like it's a whole different level. So I guess my question for you is, has your approach to campaign strategy or even community building evolved at all? Because we're seeing authenticity and self-love become more, I don't want to be like a pessimist and say like mainstream and monetized, but that's kind of what it is, right? Like we're seeing more and more companies figure out, okay, this is something consumers want. How do we get a piece of that pie? So how have you had to reaffirm like, no, this is what Shapermint is about to our core. And this is how we're making it clear and present for our audience?
That's a really great question. And I will also like to start this off with, when I walk into retail stores and I do see now curvy mannequins, it's so refreshing because it seems like the work we're all doing as different companies and product offerings out there, we're all at the end of the day helping women feel more confident within their skin, right? So for us, for Shapermint, how we're continuing to evolve, number one, research data, right? So we're constantly, sourcing and asking our community and conducting research to understand exactly what do our community want to see, what do they want to wear, and how has the conversation shift their perspective on a brand like ours. In tandem, we've been growing our brand ambassador community for the last year and a half. And right now we have a community of over 2,000 dedicated ambassadors who are helping to promote this messaging by showing real authentic content on their platforms. So whether that's social media, if they're bloggers, or if they're, on YouTube. So it's kind of like it's helping to reaffirm all of the work that we're doing. And then because, the industry is constantly shifting and growing, you see that often in beauty and fashion, we're having to really tap into the pulse. So again, what are those great visuals out there that really helps to set the tone of providing self-love? And what are those people out there that can help us with this? So for example, with our self-love campaign, we tapped onto Ashley Batts, who is a photographer who's already well known within the space of not editing body types, right? So we're growing and learning every single day as, the body acceptance movement continues to grow, but we're also making sure that we're doing the work behind the scenes to make sure we stay as authentic as possible.
Got it. So if we were to distill Shapermint's key differentiators, it seems like that approach that combines, data-driven insights and decision-making, plus your growing ambassador community, right? Like that's another source of insight and understanding into what your audience wants and needs and expects. Would you say that kind of holistic approach to consumer understanding is your key differentiator, or what else kind of comes into the fold if you were to kind of distill what makes Shapermint stand out? Again, knowing that, this is going to be an industry-wide issue. It's going to be something that, possibly adjacent or competing brands are going to try and tap into. What would you say those points are?
Absolutely. So I think you hit it on the shell. So our data and research definitely sets the tone of the decisions that we make, but we're also taking a stance through our photography and the visuals that you'll see on our website, where we are no longer photo retouching the skin, the bodies. We're showing all of, the woman's attributes. So whether it be stretch marks or what some might consider imperfections, we see that as only perfections, right? So that's one part of the puzzle that we're doing as a business. Another thing is that our product offering, it actually is very comfortable, right? It actually does make our customers and consumers feel empowered and confident. So what we feel like is when you feel supported with your everyday essentials, your base layers, it helps you to stand strong and be supported and empowered to help others when you're out in the field, whether that's working, being out with your girlfriends, or just, navigating being a mom, right? So it's products meet the data, meets really good messaging that taps into our core customer base. So everything we do, we try to have a nice 360 holistic approach.
Love that. And I know we've covered a few of your campaigns in the past on retail touch points, but I do want to make sure we touch on your latest, which you kind of referred to in your last response, the Step Into Love campaign.
Yes.
Let's dig into that. What were your intentions, your goals for the campaign? What were some of the key things that you wanted to get into with your consumers?
Sure. So prior to launching this campaign, we had a lot of conversations internally as a team where, we included our research teams, our ad teams, our creative teams to just kind of unpack what we were seeing on social media. There was a lot of chatter about low self-esteem or, social media making people feel not as empowered. And so we wanted to tap into some research to back up these findings that we were seeing. And so we ran a poll of over 3,000 women where we decided to see the relationship between social media, photography, and editing, and how this can make, women in our community feel. Right. And so the outcome of that poll, we found out, which is kind of alarming, that a large percentage of women actually understand that social media can make them feel a bit, feel unempowered or uninspired, so to speak, but they still choose to post on social media. They still choose to edit and filter their imagery. Actually, they feel compelled to do it. And so we said, okay, if they're going to still continue to post on social media, let's change what they'll see on social media and let's do our part as a business. And so that's when we tapped Ashley Batts, who, like I said earlier, she's known for creating realistic body standards through her photography. She actually doesn't edit any of her imagery. And we hired a mix of real models, that's their 9-to-5 profession, as well as combining some of our brand ambassadors to show the realistic bodies, showing the curves, the bulges, stretch marks, anything that the world would have deemed maybe 20, 30 years ago as not a realistic beauty. And so that combined with us launching the Perfect Shape filter, where we encouraged our community to use the filter. And when they tried it, they realized nothing changed on their faces or bodies. So it's the unfiltered filter. And we call it the Perfect Shape. So we kind of actually used social media to our advantage to help show and promote our messaging of stepping into self-love, feeling confident, feeling empowered. It had more to do with how our community felt and felt inspired, and less to do with us marketing the product, because that just came as a result, at the end of the day.
Got it. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into that, because as I was looking at the components of the campaign, prepping for this conversation, I don't envy brand strategists and brand marketers right now, especially in this type of category. And you're trying to amplify this message of self-love and acceptance, because platforms like Instagram and TikTok, like those are key channels, right? Like you need them to get in front of your audience. But then, as you indicated with the research, there are so many layers to how people feel using them, right? Like it's good, but it's also bad. Like it's empowering, but it's also like, oh, I kind of feel bad about myself, right? So, and I know Shapermint has done some incredible work on TikTok in particular. So when it came time to actually amplify some of these findings, amplify some of the great photography, like how did you go about using social media in a meaningful way to support the campaign, kind of reaffirm Shapermint's positioning, to kind of indicate, okay, we're not just like pushing a campaign here, like we're trying to make this part of a bigger initiative or bigger conversation among our community?
Absolutely. So we put money where our mouths were, right? So any of the ad dollars we would have used traditionally to just promote our products, we use that to promote the new campaign visuals, because we believe that in order to impact, our communities, they really need to see us doing the legwork, us doing the work, right? Of the not editing the bodies, and then also sharing stories of our models and brand ambassadors of how they felt during the photo shoot and how they feel during the day-to-day using social media and their perception of their bodies. And so that, in addition to hiring some of our high-tier influencers to also promote the campaign, we were able to reach a large group of people. And so I think it was just us, tapping into digital marketing that we normally do, but changing the tone of it a bit. So again, less product-driven and more, emotional-based, more about making our community feel empowered.
Oh, that's great. And I did get to see some of the images, and they are extremely powerful, especially combined with some of that data and insight that you were able to uncover from your consumers. So you made reference to, using the creative, putting your money where your mouths were, which is great. But tying back to this notion of Shapermint being a data-driven business and, finding ways to respond to consumer needs in a meaningful way. Obviously, you got a lot of great data from that consumer research. So are you planning to use that data in any way to guide your future decisions, guide your products, guide even how you use social media? Because there were some really intimate stuff in there, right? Like very resonant takeaways around how social media makes us feel. So has this led to any bigger conversations for Shapermint as a business, as a team?
Absolutely. So, as you know, as a brand manager, my overall job is to make sure we're protecting, what you see on our brand through our social media, through our website, through our communications. And so the biggest insight from the research was that we need to stop editing the bodies. And so we now no longer edit bodies on our visuals. And that's going to be something that we carry out throughout the rest of the year. I would love to see us doing it forever, right? But baby steps, right? So that's number one. Number two, how we speak to our community. So, after becoming a certified body positive coach and learning that body positivity is more of a mental journey on how you view yourself, it has very little to do with your clothing. We realized that we needed to change how we communicate to our audience. And so what you'll see in our ads on social media, what you'll see in our email communications. So you're going to start to see a huge shift on how we present our product offering on women, wearing the products, and how we speak to the community. So we have to continue to learn and to empower, because body positivity is a daily journey and it's a daily practice. And so we're providing more education to our customers. So you'll see that a lot too on our social media, just explaining more so the why behind certain things. And then also tapping onto other thought leaders out there that can help to drive our messaging across all channels.
That's great. Like you said, baby steps, you have to start somewhere. But it
Yes.
seems like with that foundation in data and your community, it's going to be a really powerful journey, almost like a domino effect or a ripple effect that
Absolutely.
can slowly start to make a tangible impact, hopefully not just on Shapermint as a business, but the entire category, or maybe even the entire retail industry. It's definitely interesting to see the moves that different brands make and how different leaders and teams think about being more closely connected to their community and understanding them in a more meaningful way. Before I let you go, Gabrielle, I guess to put a bow on our conversation regarding that topic, I mean, obviously this is your day-to-day work. It's not just your job, it's your passion. So do you have any closing ideas or recommendations for the other brand and marketing experts who may be watching this conversation right now and they're resonating with this, right? Like they want to say yes, I want to do that. I want to make that kind of change for my business. What would you say to them?
Yeah, so I would definitely say let's think of this body positive or body acceptance movement as, an opportunity for us all as brands and as product offerings to really celebrate the customer and empower them to feel confident within their skin. So I think it's really important for us to ask our customers, what do they want to see? How do they want us to position, the products that we're selling to them, right? And because at the end of the day, every single customer is becoming more passionate about how they connect with the brands that they're working with. And you really have to be incredibly authentic. And so I just would want to empower the other brands out there to continue learning more about the body acceptance movement, because we're impacting a lot of our younger audience as well as our older audience. And it's super, super important for us to create a community of celebration and body positivity.
Awesome. Gabrielle, thank you again so much for taking the time out to speak with me. I loved getting to know you, your work, and of course, get an inside scoop on the work that Shapermint is doing. Really appreciate you taking the time out to speak with me today.
Thank you so much, Alicia, and thank you for giving me this platform.
And to all of you, hope you enjoyed this episode of Experience Insiders. We'll be keeping close watch on our social media channels. If you have any questions or points that you want to pose for us amid this conversation, this important conversation, be on the lookout for more episodes of this series by subscribing to retailtouchpoints.com. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.